Your property just became way more valuable with the new zoning regulations in Vancouver and Burnaby. Today we'll be answering the 5 most common questions property owners and first-time developers have about developing multiplex. And to answer them, we have Bruce, our general manager and construction expert with over 25 years of experience in the industry. So let's get into it.
Thank you for having me today, and I'm happy to be here to answer the 5 most common questions people have regarding multiplex. So how do I determine if my property is eligible for a multiplex development? I'm going to answer this for 2 municipalities, and if you have questions regarding another municipality or further questions regarding a property in one of the 2 municipalities, please stay till the end and there'll be a code where you can book a consultation. So Vancouver. Vancouver has a few requirements in order to do a multiplex. First one is that the zoning is R11. Second requirement is that the lot is minimum 100 feet long. Between 100 to 110, you can do a single building configuration, and over 110, you can do a 2 building configuration. The next requirement is that there's a lane. And the last requirement is that it's not in a floodplain, which if you go to Vancouver and look for floodplain map, you can see which are the areas that are in a floodplain. To answer the question next for Burnaby, which is actually under the SSMUH, or related to the Bill 44 small scale multi-unit housing, it's even easier if you just go to the Burnaby GIS map, punch in the address, and it will tell you how many units you can do. Obviously, if there's no units showing there, it's not eligible for a multiplex on that lot. So what are the financial implications and potential returns of developing a multiplex? These are going to vary from project to project. However, in general, in the past in Vancouver, at least recently, a duplex could do up to 0.7 FSR, or floor space ratio, which is the size of the lot times that ratio gives you the buildable area. So multiplex in Vancouver allows 1.0 FSR. So there's 30% extra that the city is allowing. And typically as a developer, if you can develop more square footage, it works better. So we're finding that a lot of these projects or potential projects in Vancouver are not working as a duplex, but are working as a multiplex. And the returns can be quite good. However, you would have to do a pro forma on each individual project to determine if it makes sense for that project. In Burnaby, there's actually no FSR restriction on the multiplex. It's only limited by site coverage, setbacks, and building height. As such, with stratification, you're allowed to build a fair amount of square footage on each property. And from what we're seeing, the returns usually are pretty good and makes a viable project. Again, we have to look at the individual project, lot price, expected sales values, and of course all the costs in between to determine if it's a viable project. So the typical timeline for completing a multiplex construction project, from the time you decide to do the project to the time the project is finished, is typically around 2 years. That includes both the design, permitting, and construction time. Are there any significant design and construction requirements that differ from a single-family home? To answer this question, we need to understand that there's 2 primary areas that a residential project would fall under in the building code, Part 9 and Part 3. Single-family and duplex and up to 4 units all fall under Part 9 of the building code. So if there's 4 units or less per building, then it falls under Part 9 of the building code. There are some other technical requirements, such as travel distance and overall building height, and a few things that might also bring you to Part 3. But in general, you should be able to stay in Part 9 of the building code, which would make it the same as your single family and duplex construction and design requirements. If you do end up in Part 3, you will require a licensed architect and a full project team, which will drastically increase your overall project time, and the construction requirements are also more stringent and will increase your construction costs. In general, if you can stay under Part 9, that is going to be better for your project. What are the potential risks and challenges associated with a multiplex development? First one is feasibility. We need to make sure that the project is feasible, as well as meets all the requirements within the municipality for being allowed to do a multiplex. Once that's done, and you're through your design and permitting, the next biggest risk usually is the contractor. We want to try to make sure that you have a good construction contract, typically a fixed price contract, to mitigate risks, as well as having proper design and specifications done for the contractor. If you have a fixed price contract with very loose or poor specifications, there's going to be a lot of change orders from the contractor, which will increase your risk. You also need to make sure you're selecting a solid contractor who is going to finish the job properly, as well as making sure that all the trades are paid.
Thanks to Bruce for sharing his expertise with us today. Before you go, we have something special for you. If you're ready to take the next step, email us at info@VictorEric.com your property address plus the code multiplex2025. This way, we will prepare for you a complimentary zoning assessment and give you a consultation to help you get started. Don't forget to like and subscribe. If you have any other questions, type them in the comments. We are VictorEric Design+Build, and we create amazing spaces.